Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sebastian, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a interesting show. Let's put it that way for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video, sub to the channel if you haven't already. Let's get into today's show. This is an interesting one. I was just literally combing through the internet and I came across this article here. But as you guys know, about a month or so ago, Shannon Sharpe went viral on the internet for basically having some hoo-ha time, and the video was recorded and it was published all over the internet. Everybody was losing their damn minds, and then they previewed a live that they were going to do on the Club Shay Shay channel on YouTube. Then the live started, and at one point when I was there watching it, it had 264,000 live viewers watching him, and he was explaining it. But as the live was getting prepped up, you could see that they were marketing this product that was featured in the post that he put on Instagram. And then as I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, well, he's supposed to be apologizing, but then he's kind of bragging about it. I'm like, who brags about something they're ashamed of, something happening? I'm like, okay, this is confusing. And then a lot of people then began to speculate that, okay, look, this was a publicity stunt. They did it for the views. They did it for the gram. They did it for whatever came with it, whatever monetary windfall that came with that. That's why they did it. But Shannon said, no, it's not true. It's not true. It's not true. As a matter of fact, Marco and I were arguing about this, talking about this about a week or so ago. I told him, I said, look, we share the same, we have the access to the same Instagram account for DREAMERSPRO. So I said, I want to try something. I want to see if I can go live. And since you have access to the account, I want to see if you'll be able to shut it down on your end. Right, because Shannon said essentially he didn't know he was live. Then his assistant said that his assistant had to turn it off. So we tried it; it couldn't work. Marco said he had no access to do. He couldn't remotely discontinue my live. He couldn't do it. But apart from the fact, even if that was possible, which we tried and it wasn't possible, the steps that were needed to take to go live, they're like 4 or 5. I mean, it was just absolutely impossible. And when you think about the fact, okay, my phone is about to go live, but I'm in the act of doing this, having some hoo-ha time. I'm like, okay, how does all of this work? So a lot of people have been, from that point forward, have been looking at Shannon with a side eye like, yo, I don't know. If he says this, I don't know if I should believe him. I don't know if I should believe him. So what happened? Recently, he had a sit down. He did an interview, rather, a viral interview with former Dallas Mavericks owner, Mark Cuban. And I tuned into it. I saw bits and pieces of it. I didn't watch it like in its entirety. And they talked about a range of things. They talked about Luka Doncic, Dirk Nowitzki. They talked about foreign players versus American players. They talked about a range of things. But there was one particular part during the conversation where they were talking about business, right? Because he was asking Mark Cuban to discuss business. Makes sense. He's a businessman, whatever. And in the midst of that, and mind you, I saw this clip at the time, but I didn't think much of it. Shannon basically disclosed to Mark Cuban that, look, man, there was a time where I signed with the Ravens and I had $300,000 that I was looking to invest. And I told my financial advisor, hey, man, there's just a new hot thing. Why don't we invest in Google stocks? And the guy was like, no, he doesn't think it's going to work. And then people subsequently started saying, man, if Shannon had done that, he'll be a billionaire today and all of that. So what happened? I came across the internet, and again, this is something I didn't think about because I had seen this a few days ago. It says, this is from essentiallysports.com. It says, sharp-eyed fans expose Shannon Sharpe's blatant $300,000 lie as Mark Cuban makes $3 trillion admission. And I'm like, what? So I began to read through it, and I'm like, okay, well, this is a little bit fishy here. So this is the information that we want to get into. But before we even get into this article here and what it has to say, today's video is brought to you by a sponsor, Game Time. With only 4 months left until the end of the year, I look forward to creating special moments with family and friends by attending various theaters, shows, plays, and sporting events. And when it comes time for me to look for tickets, I absolutely love to use Game Time. Game Time is one of the most reliable marketplaces for last-minute tickets to the most popular events in sports, music, and theater in more than 60 cities across the United States and Canada. Game Time saves me money, time, and peace of mind, so I don't have to sort through thousands of tickets looking for the best prices or worry about whether or not if they're authentic or whether if I'm going to receive them on time. Game Time Picks, one of my favorite Game Time tools, analyzes thousands of tickets for all of your favorite events near your location and finds you the best possible deal so you don't have to. For example, I'm looking forward to this upcoming concert at Madison Square Garden of one of my favorite composers, Hans Zimmer. Here I can select the all-in price to see the total ticket price up front, no hidden fees. And now I can sort through the best possible deals I can find. I can choose the cheapest deals, the great deal, or the amazing deal. Once you select the ticket you want, you can use their panoramic seat view to ensure you know exactly what you're getting before you buy. And if you're like me and always make plans at the last minute, you can grab tickets up to 90 minutes after the event has started. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and use redeem code CLNS for $20 off. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So let me get into what this article had to say here. It said the NFL season is peak now, with fans waiting for week 5. Between all the buzz, ex-Raven player Shannon Sharpe has made waves in the NFL world. The fans in general have raised eyebrows about the former player's admission. The NFL Hall of Famer recently sparked buzz after the comments on missing out on a massive investment opportunity. On his podcast club, Shay Shay, Sharpe admitted that in the early 2000s, he considered investing $300,000 in Google stock, but was advised against it by his financial team. He said, in quote, "I had just signed with the Ravens, so I had some money. And I was like, man, I'd like to buy $300K worth of Google. It opens up at $115. And my advisor says it's overpriced," Sharpe recalled. To add salt to the wound, Mark Cuban chimed in, noting it's worth over $3 trillion now. Mark Cuban also added, "You're not the first one to say that. It's like Endiva right now. I told my son wanted to invest in it. He bought some, and I'm like, I'd rather see if it comes down first." And my son's like, "Who's the expert now?" Sharpe remarked hilariously, "Yes. So my investment, I would have been a billionaire with you. I effed up bad because Netflix and Google, and I had money to do it, but I let somebody talk me out of it," right? Now, it continues on. It says, while the exchange might have seemed like a typical what-if scenario, sharp-eyed fans are questioning the accuracy of Sharpe's story. The problem: Google didn't go public until 2004. While Shannon had joined the Ravens back in 2000. The timelines don't add up, leading some fans to believe that Sharpe might have exaggerated or confused the details. Was it an honest mistake, or did Shannon stretch the truth to spice up the conversations? Many fans are calling him out, with many figuring out as fishy as those numbers don't line up. Others have pointed out that Sharpe could be misremembering the year, but it still raises eyebrows. Whether it's the case or faulty memory or tall tale, Sharpe's claims has certainly stirred debate, especially since he also mentioned missing out on an opportunity, a potential Netflix windfall. While the conversation goes on, fans are keeping a close watch on Sharpe's billionaire story. So when I read this article, I was unaware of this, right? Because I didn't follow football and follow Shannon Sharpe's story. So I went quickly to Google and I said, okay, when did Google go public? Google went public in 2004. Good. No issue there. Then I asked, when did Shannon Sharpe play for the Ravens? Shannon Sharpe played for the Baltimore Ravens in 2000, in the year 2000. So for Shannon to have had that conversation with his financial guy, it would have probably meant that, it would have been impossible, because you can't have a conversation in investing in a stock that's not public. So that story would not have made sense. Now, I also checked on some other teams that he joined. It said he joined the Denver Broncos in 2002, but then once again, it wouldn't have worked as well. Because, again, Google went public 2 years later. The only way that this could make any sense is that he signed a contract with the Ravens in 2000, meaning he had money from that contract with him all the way up to 2003, 2004, and then spoke with this guy and said, hey, I got some money here. Let's invest in Google. That's the only way it makes sense. And probably that's what happened, right? Because he said he signed with the Ravens in 2000, which makes me believe that he got some cash in 2000, which means that he probably had extra money sitting aside that he could afford to invest. That's the only way that I'm thinking of it. But in terms of him having that conversation with his financial advisor in the year 2000 about a stock that came out 4 years later, it's absolutely impossible. There's no way he could have been able to have that conversation. So that's my interpretation of the facts. It's up to you really to come to your own conclusion. Do you think he misrepresented the timelines, or do you think that maybe he didn't give the full explanation behind that investment story surrounding the Google stock? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you guys on the next show. Peace.